Welcome back to another episode of the Aloha Life podcast. And my name's Lindsay Pierce. And glad you're here today. So, we're going to talk about something I know that's hard for me. Maybe it's something hard for you too, but we'll see. So, we're going to talk about finding balance maybe between your work and personal life, or maybe not letting people down. We be talking about? So we're going to talk about setting boundaries. So, sometimes it's easier for us to create boundaries with our home life and our work life. I work right here in my home, so I do have to set pretty hard boundaries that I'm not going to keep working after 5 p.m. or, also on the other side, making sure I'm doing the work and not getting distracted by things that are happening in my home. And just find a way that makes it feel empowering for you and that you're doing the right thing for all entities, including yourself, and not being so guilt ridden by, just your everyday life. But setting boundaries is one of those things. It's not being selfish. It's protecting your time and guarding your energy so that you can show up in the best way possible for all of the things that are required of you. So things that matter most, the people in your life, and then also the things that are, required as far as like tasks for work and other things projects that you have going on. Because I not only have my work, I have my own business, my husband's business, things that we're always trying to do. Of course, I didn't check this before. Oh, well. So let's talk about how to make boundary setting an act of self-care for you rather than something that makes you feel bad. Okay, so many of us find that we're stretched thin. There's not enough time in a day. We fail to protect that time. Work-life balance isn't about, keeping managing everything perfectly. It's knowing when to step back, recharge, and then come back so you're not overwhelmed by all the things that are needing your attention. And what things can you let go? So without clear boundaries, work seeps into family time, checking work emails. Personal responsibilities can feel like they never end. Guilt of saying no. Some of us don't feel like no is a full sentence when it is, and just gets us into this burnout cycle. So we want to create a healthy separation. I have my work hours, my time is allotted there. I have my home life, my personal time. My family gets what they need from me and my attention, and just being more present. So you're not thinking about work when you're with your family, and you're not thinking about family at work, and they keep a separation, and that's what these boundaries are for. So we can increase our productivity, improve our relationships, and just have an overall well-being. A lot of this is a mindset shift. It's hard to think about saying the word no sometimes. It makes us think like we're bad employees, bad parents, not good friends. But you can't pour from an empty cup, like they say. You need to be your full, happy self before you can build those others around you. So that's what these boundaries are helping you preserve that energy so that when you do show up, you're giving your best, not what's left over. Because when my family gets my leftovers, it's not pretty. It's not fair, for them to just get what's left after a long, hard day of work. So when you're saying no, you need to think of it not as a rejection. It's a way to create space and make sure that those other areas are getting what it needs and feeling like it's important. So you're prioritizing. And so when you do say yes, it's because you do have the capability and the capacity to be there and be fully present in that moment. So we want to recognize that we need some balance. Balance looks different for everyone. Another friend of mine, she talks about juggling balls, and a few of these balls are glass and they will break. You cannot let the glass balls drop. There's other things you can let drop, the rubber balls, the other things, but the glass, so your work, which if it's bringing you an income and providing your family with insurance, your family members, other things that are important to you, those glass balls can't be dropped. So what can you let go of? What can you maybe delegate to others or even let go of completely? Those are the kinds of things you can do, as things change and evolve, you can bring some of them back in, but you don't need to be doing anything. Just don't let the glass balls drop. And so you're trying to create a routine that works for you. You don't have social expectations. You don't have, you're not dictated by others on what their expectations are. And so that way you don't have the guilt. So we're going to talk about prioritizing and setting clear boundaries. So first you're going to start with being clear about your work hours, especially if you work at home like me, like having a structured start and stop time, blocking that out in your calendar. We've talked about time blocking and making those blocks of time. Make sure your coworkers know you're available these hours. We have a way in our work calendar to show what our hours are. Some of my coworkers are early birds and start at 6 a.m., so they're done by 3. I am not. Even 8 o'clock sometimes is a struggle. So I try my best to be there from 8 to 5. Sometimes I take a shorter lunch and finish, if I started later, but I always want to make sure that I am finishing at a time when my kids are coming home from school and going to need my attention, the end of the day, my husband's coming home from work, things like that. So even your other coworkers, your clients, your family, they know your work hours and that those are your work times. You can also, before agreeing to anything, you need to stop and think, do I have time for this? Will this add unnecessary stress? Am I saying yes out of obligation or because this is something that's going to help me, improve me, help me grow? So you stop and think. I always say, let me get back to you so I can give myself that time to think if this opportunity is one that's going to be a good fit for all parties, not just myself, not just the other, who I'm committing to. And make sure when you do say yes, it means something. So you are committing to do it fully. You don't even have to really. So you do want to communicate your boundaries. You don't have to over explain, like, I am doing this because I have that and the other. Just saying, sorry, I'm not available at this time, or, leading to some kind of negotiation. Well, I can do a little bit, but I can't do all of it. And then before you know it, you've just given up on even the boundary that you set. So you do want to make sure that you're clear in your communication. Some of those non-negotiables are taking breaks, putting breaks into your calendar. So I do take sometimes shorter lunches, but I always take a lunch. I don't ever not take a lunch. Or, working breaks into my day so that I can move a load of laundry. That's not going to take me more than a couple minutes. Or getting a snack, things like that I can do quickly and then get back to work. Doing my exercising, taking time to relax. By a certain time of day, I am just done. I'm spent. I want to be in bed. So that is something I have put into my planner like it's an appointment. I want to be back. I want to be done. It's treat your self-care and your personal time and your breaks just like you would meeting with a client. Okay. So that's, non-negotiables and getting those times scheduled. And so how to stick to boundaries, setting them's one thing, but really enforcing it and having that will to do things is a totally different thing. So maybe using some digital limits. I'm going to scroll for an hour, set a timer, and then set do not disturb on your phone for the rest of the day, or your after hours interruptions for work, turning do not disturb on for that. With our calendars, our work hours does that as well. It shows me as a way once I'm at the end of my day. And then your wind down routine. So take the end of your workday, tidy up your space, close your laptop, do things that cause a routine and tell your brain, we're done here. um, Another one, I have a really good friend who lives in a different state, but she and I are accountability buddies. So I kind of check in with her throughout the day. Hey, what are you going to do today? What are you working on? And then I can check in with her midday, like, how's it going? What's going on? If she gets to a block, she's like, I'm stuck on something. I can be there to talk her through it. And just reminding you of those boundaries and those things that you've set for yourself. So it's really good to have somebody that you can talk to while you're doing all of this. And that way, if you come to a block, you just can't move forward, someone can talk you through it. Someone to talk through things really helps. Remind yourself why you set a boundary in the first place. So if you start to feel guilty, you can tell yourself the reason why you set that why you set this boundary, what this boundary is supposed to help you, with protecting your peace or just being more intentional with your time. Boundaries are kind of one of those things, like between my work, my personal business, my husband's business, my family life, my kids, like it can be a lot. And I have to set those priorities to make sure that I'm fully present when my kids get home. I can help them out with things and questions and whatever they're needing. And then I can focus on my work when it's time for work and not feel guilty about doing one or the other when I should be doing something else. That's not what we want. So we're going to talk action time. What is one area of your life that you need more or clearer boundaries, and then start committing to them? Start small. You don't want to make huge commitments. If you have a hard time with that hard stop, 5 p.m., done with work, close it up, work on that. That's a totally logical place to start. Set those boundaries. Tell set away messages for work. You'll be there, leave a message. I'll get back with you in the morning. And just work on getting those consistent things so that you are the one with the more fulfilled life and following through and feeling good about those commitments that you made. I don't know. I don't know where to even start. So we are going to end here. Next week is that quick reset. So we're going to set some boundaries with our home and reset our week. And we'll talk about that more next week. But thanks for being here today, and we'll talk again soon.